Okay, so welcome everyone. This is going to be the first video that I really create to only publish on YouTube. So to be honest, I'm very excited about this new chapter because I would like to give more long format videos where I can share more of my insights and really give more depth in the things that I want to explain to people. Because obviously, if you work with Instagram or Facebook, it's kind of difficult. It's a short format video and you really have to capture the people in the first couple of seconds because otherwise they just scroll on. So it's a little bit annoying. So I hope with YouTube that I can really focus more on giving more information and yeah, just share more value. So let's see how it goes. So the video I would like to make today is to really share two really big insights that I had in New Zealand. A couple of weeks ago, I had to travel there for organizing three retreats, horse retreats. Beautiful country in many different ways. We went to the North Island, we went to the South Island, and yeah, just really beautiful country. And so there were two things that really stick to me and really had an impact on me. The first thing is I really noticed a huge difference in between Europe and New Zealand. So what is the difference? I mean, I can really say in Europe I travel also to many different countries, but very often it's the same impact. Humanity is very strong present in Europe. In most of the forests we walk, it's always been trimmed. It's for sure one day in the past it has been trimmed down to make furniture or boats or you know something. Um, so it's not really that pure anymore. It's been reforested by us people, but it's not really the origin anymore. So you can also, now we just speak about the forest, but also just energy-wise, you can really feel that the presence of humanity is very present. Even if you go to the forest, it really, I don't know, it really has an impact. Now, while I was walking in New Zealand, it was really different. I mean, the North Island, a little bit less, just because it's very cozy and yeah, obviously it's a different vibe. But I had really a strong feeling when I was going more south, in the South Island, when there was more mountains and the huge lakes, and when you walk there in nature, you really feel how it was thousands of years ago when there was no strong presence of humanity. And so just the impact this has. When I was sitting there, I closed my eyes. I was really, being home. It was something very natural, something very pure. The insight I had was very, yeah, just very strongly present. So obviously we can also experience this here in Europe, to have this deep connection, but still there was something a little bit different. So just to really compare both was a beautiful experience. So that was one thing. The second thing that I really noticed, I was at the last retreat on the South Island. I was working with one of the horses. I was not even working with one of the horses. With the group, we went to the herd and we wanted to just chill a bit with them, connect with them without any methods or techniques, but just really ground and be in the present moment. And so I was approaching the horses. So each person was going on their own spot. I was not even approaching, I was going to sit down somewhere. And there was like an older horse, I think it was 20, 22 years old already. And so he approached me, and it was such a strong energy. It was really very special. And obviously, I already had beautiful connections with the horses in Europe. But I think the reason why I felt it so strongly is because, the energy of the whole place was just, so much in its origin. And so I was, yeah, connecting with the horse, and I really felt how it must have been a couple of hundred years ago, with the Native Americans, for instance. Um, what a huge impact it has. What a responsibility, not even a responsibility, but like a horse, when you had a horse, it really represented a part of yourself. Imagine how it must have been in those days when you see wild horses running around and you really have to go and, capture a horse or connect with a horse, and then you go through this whole process. It went much deeper than what we see today. You know, how did they do this? It was really very spiritual. So what can we learn from this horse? It's a pure representation. While if we see the horses in Europe, it's like, oh, that's my horse. I feel a good connection with them. For sure, the horse can teach us something, but there is some depth missing. We get on the horse, we ride on the horse, we try to connect with them, but I felt it was not the same. And so the feeling that I had with this horse, I can really imagine that he was a horse like of a chief, you know, with the Native Americans. I speak about North America now, but just that was the feeling I had. I can really imagine that this horse, he was so wise, he was so pure, he was so grounded. That was a horse that fitted with the chief, you know, the boss of the tribe. And I really felt like you can really know if the person is pure just by seeing to his horse. You know, if you can speak, you know, today many people they speak about many different topics, and it's very easy to convince people. It's very easy to, you know, play tricks on people. But if you work with a horse, you know, it's impossible. So if your horse is like really in bad shape and you can see that the horse is suffering in a certain kind of way, but it means like that's a part of that human. So it means like, you know, we can speak about things, but how do you put it in practice? So yeah, it's just a beautiful experience, just the depth that I felt of how it must have been. Imagine in those days, you know, it's not just a horse, it's a second soul. You have to go from point A to B. It's an adventure. You jump on the horse and once again it's part of yourself. How do you walk? How do you enjoy? How do you travel? And then how do you put this horse aside? How do you sleep together? How do you it's just a different way of living. So this is obviously something I will not forget that easily. So that's also what we try to offer with the retreats is to really dive deep and try to see horses from a completely different perspective. We see them as a horse and we see ourselves as humans, but we have the same origin. What can we learn from each other? What is the true message of a horse? Without the intention of riding and achieving something, what can we truly learn from them? And this is we cannot compare, and this is more difficult to find these days. Many people speak about it, many people would love to learn more about it, but it's very difficult to manage. It's very difficult to dive deep in that way. Why? Because it's a way of living. How do you wake up in the morning? What do you need to do to be the best person possible? We are so afraid, we have so many obstacles. How do we overcome this? So these are the points I really like to work on with the people to really dive deeper and really achieve a deeper connection. So yeah, those are just the really two big insights I had from this journey. Also, one last thing that I had from this experience, it was one of the last times that I really gave this kind of retreat. In the future, for sure, I will offer also different type of retreats. But it was very interesting that it happened on this specific place with such a big insight, because it just showed me how many different approaches we have to really work with horses. Something I already knew before, but I just saw it from a different perspective. So yeah, I'm just happy that I can share this with you guys. I hope I can inspire one of you, to, you know, to share a bit more knowledge about this. If you have more questions and you say like, hey, it would be great to make a video about this or make a video about this topic, then just let me know. I would love to do this more often, long format videos to once again share more knowledge and hopefully inspire you guys. So wishing you all the best and I'm looking forward to see you at the next video.